Hi, Bracha. Excellent. This is great. This is great stuff. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Okay, just as a quick note, first things first is I'm assuming you're using Picasa, and what you've done is if you go to, the problem is that if you look over here, you have compressed the image. So what you need to do is when you go to export, okay, make sure the image size is clicked to use original size. Right now, I would assume that this is what your one looks like. It says change to 800 pixels. Do not do that. It should be use original size and automatic, okay? Because otherwise I'm not going to be able to edit these pictures in Lightroom, which is a shame because they're too low resolution. But so just try and fix that. You can see these ones that didn't go through Picasa. These ones are fine. Okay, so let's jump in. Let me just read what you wrote. Hi, I was unable to do home, but I did not have access to any high vantage point over a busy road highway. Doesn't matter. You could do it in a place where there's just a car driving past, literally. Or if you wanted to be really creative, you could do it in your house with a flashlight or something like that. Okay. Also, homework 2. Was the child's face supposed to be blurry? How is it possible to get it clear and focused? I'm not sure what you mean by homework number 2. Let me just 1 second. Over here. Homework number 2. What class are you on? Class 3. Homework number 2 is panning. Was the child's face supposed to be blurry? No, it was not supposed to be blurry. How is it possible to get it clear and focused? It looks to me like you nailed it. That's it. I think that's what you're referring to as number 2. Number 4. Oh, so number 4 you've done oh, sorry, excuse me. Okay, so number 2 is panning. Okay, that's panning. So you're not meant to be getting it. You've done pretty well here. It could definitely be better, but you've done pretty well. We'll discuss that when we get to that. Okay, I understand now. And then number 4 is the merry-go-round. Okay. Let's have a look what you wrote. 1 second. I did not have access to merry-go-round, so I used a round swing. It didn't work as well. I think it did. I think that is perfect. I think that is exactly what we're trying to do. I think we're meant to be using a slightly slower shutter speed. But anyway, and then finally, I'm really benefiting from the source. Thank you. Okay, that's our pleasure. Great. That's what you like to hear. Okay, let's jump in. So now, we chose these numbers. This is your picture, 1000, which is a 1,000th of a second, 60th of a second, and a 15th of a second. Excuse me. Bless me. For a very specific reason. Okay, and you've demonstrated it really well. At a 1,000th of a second, I know you're underexposed here, but don't worry about that. At a 1,000th of a second, the point is that you can freeze the action of a person moving, pin sharp, doesn't matter what. The 3 kinds of pictures that I shoot generally with movement is running, jumping, and spinning. Okay, any of those pictures, running, jumping, or spinning, you can freeze the action at a 1,000th of a second. All the more so, you can for sure make sure that the background is going to be frozen because the background is not going to be moving. So a 1,000th of a second, for sure there's no camera shake, and even more so, you're going to be able to freeze the movement of your subject. Not the case though, however, at a 60th of a second. Here's your picture of 60th. Here it is at 60th of a second. We can see now that you were able. You've also crunched this picture as well. Okay. We can see now that you are able to keep the background still, but your subject who is moving has become blurry. Okay. So we learn from this that a 60th of a second, if you're conscious and you're really paying attention and keeping your camera steady, if something's still, you can make sure that that's going to be still in your image. However, if there's something moving, okay, you cannot freeze that with a 60th of a second. The 60th of a second is no good for freezing any kind of movement whatsoever. It's even, and the biggest problem with the 60th of a second is you need to be super conscious to hold the camera steady so that your things that are still are also going to be frozen pin sharp in the picture, okay? And then a 15th of a second. Again, we can't move in. You've actually done very well holding the camera still at a 15th of a second. But generally, for sure, a 15th of a second cannot freeze any movement. But the problem with a 15th of a second is you cannot hold the camera steady. Like I said here, you've done really, really well holding the camera steady here at a 15th of a second. Okay, but the rule is that if your camera is showing you a 15th of a second, you are in big trouble and there's basically no point taking the picture. Okay, people have a different physiology and some people are able to hold the camera for sure. Some people can hold the camera stiller, more still at a longer shutter speed, but we do not go below a 60th of a second. You have to be super conscious. We're generally trying to get to a 200th of a second or quicker. Okay, so those are the three things we learn from this exercise. Is at a 1000th of a second you can freeze any kind of human movement. Okay, you can't probably freeze like a racing car going at 150 miles per hour, but who cares? We're never trying to do that. You can freeze all human movement at a 1000th of a second. Okay, all the more so the background will be sharp and still. At a 60th of a second, you can keep the camera still if you're conscious, but you cannot freeze any movement. No movement whatsoever. So if you really need to be, if the light levels are very, very low, okay, and you're taking a portrait of somebody sitting there still, you can potentially shoot at a 60th of a second, even though I would highly, highly recommend not doing that. Okay, you should be at a quicker shutter speed. But you can shoot potentially at a 60th of a second. A 15th of a second is a disaster. Okay, do not take a picture at a 15th of a second unless you have a tripod or you're putting the camera down somewhere very, very steady. Okay, that's what we learned from this exercise. Very good. Okay, so now in regards to panning, I think the issue here, number one, you can never get it first time. You never nail it first time. You need to do this picture. You need to shoot this image at least 5, 6, maybe 10 times to really nail it. The problem here is I can see the girl is running not parallel to you. She's running at an angle, which means even if you pan with her, she's not moving exactly in the way of your camera. So she really needed to be running exactly parallel with your shoulders, yeah? And as she runs past, you move your camera, and like I said, 1 in 5, 1 in 10 shots, you will get a good picture. You will not freeze it pin sharp. To freeze it pin sharp is maybe 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. Super, super unlikely. But you can definitely get it better. You could definitely get it better than this. Try again and upload for next week another example of this. I think you could do a bit better. Okay. This picture here, this is great. Was it meant to be a 60th or a 15th of a second? I'm not sure. But either way, you've demonstrated the point beautifully. This is exactly the point, is you're obviously moving at the same speed as this little girl, and she is pin sharp. Again, I can't zoom in because you've crunched the picture down, but she is pin sharp, and your background is blurry, is moving, not blurry because of the focus, you'll learn about in the next class, but it's got movement blur. You can see that. We can zoom in. Yes. You can see here that you've moved. This is how far you moved. Okay, this is how far the swing moved. Okay, so this is an excellent example of the merry-go-round assignment that we asked you to do. Excellent, pat on the back. Okay, I'm assuming this is you. This is great. 30th of a second, great example of me in 3, not a 30th of a second, sorry, 30 seconds. You are closer to the light over here in this picture, I think, in this part of the image. Very good. This is excellent. You've stood still. You've used a dark background that's allowed it to come through. This is really, really well done. Excellent. Really well done. Big pat on the back. It seems to me that you clearly understand this. Nice one. Okay, let's look at your photo shoot. Let's just look overall. Overall, this is excellent. I really mean that. This really is excellent. You're in class 3. fantastic. This is really encouraging, and we're going to see amazing things coming through over the next few weeks. B'ezrat Hashem. Let's just analyze these pictures. This area, one of the things we're going to learn about with your background is we need background which is a comparable exposure, different color. Now, there's a few issues here. He has become very static because he's looking straight on. He needs to bring his shoulder forward, okay? And she should also bring her shoulder a little bit forward. What could, if it would work out sneers-wise, what would be good is if he was to put his hand around her shoulder, but I understand that doesn't always work out. So if he was to bring his shoulder forward, she was to bring her shoulder forward, baby in the middle, this is great. Crop a little bit of this top off here. Don't need all of this space over here. And again, this sunny area in the background isn't doing you any favors, but I understand that could be a little bit difficult to work out. One of the issues as well is our point of entry is either way. And then listen, did you hear? There's this scratching at the bottom of the canvas over here, so we should have his arm probably a little bit further in. And then to help our eye around even more is if mummy brought her arm up here and was holding onto baby's hand, or having baby hold onto her hand like in this kind of way, this being the baby's hand, having her holding onto a finger or something like that, that would give us a further line keeping the movement going around. Remember, don't look at arms and legs as arms and legs. Look at them as lines and as binders. Okay, they bind things together and they move our eye around. Okay, that's what hands and arms and legs and feet are doing for us as photographers in portrait photography. Excellent. Okay, and onward. Now I would get down a little bit lower. These look like twins. Look at these arms. Isn't that gorgeous? The Michelin Man. Excellent. Get down a little bit lower, okay? And I would try and get, although there is a time and a place for sure for having our subjects looking off camera, definitely try and have them looking into the camera much more than off camera. We can do that by having mummy literally touching us from behind us, playing the fool, doing whatever she needs to do to get the kids' attention, but she should be literally above our head touching us. And then even if the kids are not looking exactly into the camera, it will give the impression that they are. That will improve that. Be more precise in centering. This is not centered. We need a little bit more room here, a little less room over here. We just hack off a drop over here. Let's just do this. Let's make it perfectly centered. There we go. Got a nice shape here. Got two shapes over here. And I always do that when I first do it. One shape here, and then bound together. That's great. Okay, excellent. Nice separation between background and foreground. The stats are actually excellent, even though we haven't really learned about stats yet. What are you shooting on? On shutter priority. Okay. This is great. This is so encouraging. Okay, pay attention to directions. This image should really be, I'm going to show you quickly in photo. We'll do this one in Photoshop because I can't really edit a picture here because you've crunched them all down. But there is something I can do here that will show you how we can improve that picture. We'll get back to that. Okay, this is my favorite one of your shoots. And this. This is a great shot. We could brighten it a teeny little bit. Just a teeny bit. You can even do that in Picasa. Okay, the hair. The light on her hair is excellent. Okay, the sun is behind the tree, which means we don't have a very bright light causing a burnout of her hair. We've just got this glow to her hair, which is allowing her to pop out from the background. Okay, we've got a nice look into the camera. In regards to a shape, this is basically the shape, which is nice. Okay, that's great. These arms are cute behind the back. I don't usually do that, but I do like that in this picture. It's nice. I do like that. Usually I'm having kids holding their hands or folding their arms or putting hands in pockets and stuff. She does have pockets, so you can make use of that. But I like this. I really do like this. This is excellent. The balance of this picture is perfect. There's no extraneous space. You've cropped in close. This is already viable commercial photography. Viable commercial portrait photography. This photography is already worth money and you are only 3 classes in. Excellent. Okay, this is also nice. we've got the big issue here is this pole sticking out from her head. It would be better to put it in the middle here. You could get rid of that very easily in Lightroom or in Photoshop, I can show you. I love this kind of picture here. It could be that she could move a little bit further. This is distracting, but every one of the subjects has their own space. Nice, there's a nice symmetry to the image. I'm just thinking if we put maybe this little girl on the outside, swapped her with this place, it might be. The truth is, 1 second, let's have a think. It could maybe be a little bit better if you swapped her and her. So right now we've got this interesting zigzaggy line, which is cool, but it's not. So it's like this. Whereas if we swapped her to here, it would be like this. So I'm not sure. I'd have to see it. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is good. She should move a little bit further out, a little bit further. But this is great. Great. We've got good separation between foreground and background. Stats are good. You've managed to hold the camera steady. Can't really see because it's too small a picture. But it appears that you've managed to hold the camera steady even a 100th of a second. Excellent. This is great. Bracha, excellent photography. Really. Very impressed. Let's take this into Photoshop. I'm going to show you how to get rid of this. And then the other picture we're going to go back to. I'm going to show you a quick improvement on that other picture. 1 second. Wait for my cranky computer to do its thing. Okay, so to get rid of this, I'm going to zoom in by pressing Alt and running my mouse button. First things first is we use the spot healing brush. Perfect. Love it. Oh. This is what this brush is made for. Not having trouble with the last little bit. So then from there, let's go back. Okay, we can just use our cloning tool. You haven't done the Photoshop class, but you'll do that soon. Cloning tool, it means we're going to sample a piece over here and just paint it over here. Okay, that's done. Could do that a little bit more accurately, but that's fine. Okay, and now let's just take this picture and I'm going to show you what I was thinking over here. It's just in regards to the balance. Although this arm is moving backwards, we've definitely got a strong movement going in this direction. So go with the movement, go with the flow, as they say. So we're going to crop, but we're not really going to crop. We're going to kind of crop. We're going to get rid of some of this space over here. But the truth is, I want to sample this. You know, it doesn't matter. Let's crop this over here, and we're going to pull this over a little bit. Put our subject onto the third. Okay, and now all I need to do, in fact, I'm going to do a different thing. I could either go like this and stretch it, or we could go like this. Control. I'll go to copy via layer, and now we can just go like this and then flatten. I know this is probably a little bit over your head right now, but you'll learn about this in the Photoshop class, and we are going to use the patch tool to just get rid of this seam, just like that. Perfect. Okay, so really what we wanted to do, I would still actually crop a little bit more off the back side over here, just to give it perfect balance. Good. The balance is good. Now we've got a good balance. Okay, movement in this direction. Face could be brightened a little bit. We could do in Lightroom. But excellent. Please, for next week, please make sure to fix your Picasso so that you're not crunching the pictures down. You did exceptionally well, and we're really looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. Okay, all the best.